Greetings and salutations, one and all. I am Joe for Florida 14, coming to you from the 14th Congressional District in the Sunshine State. Do want to thank you so much for listening, and want to invite you to follow me on Twitter at Joe for Florida 14. That is at Joe, the number 4, FL14. And before we jump in, I do want to issue a correction. In my Colin Kaepernick podcast, I said that the NFL rosters had to be cut down to 53 by tomorrow, Tuesday. That was actually wrong. It was actually Saturday. Not sure how I whiffed on that one, but that is quite all right. Do want to say thank you to those who pointed that out. Also, I completely whiffed that this was Labor Day weekend. But that's what happens when you work in cyber ops and SOC in your 24/7 shop. But even though Labor Day weekend is winding down, we do want to say thank you to our military, our first responders, those who work in hospitals, and all those who have had to work this weekend who didn't get any time off. Thank you for everything that you do. Now, there's a lot to talk about, so what we're going to do is break this up into several podcasts. But something has been on my mind the last few days. No, not Hurricane Irma. Not sure where she is going to go yet. Typical woman. Yes, I did go there. But Governor Scott earlier today issued a state of emergency, and you hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Now, something happened last week that, again, I really want to talk about because this is important. We all know that YouTube shut down Joyvia, and YouTube struck again. If you do not follow Candace Owens, Red Pill Black, you need to. She is whip smart. She does not miss a thing. She is very easy on the eyes, young enough to be my daughter, but still quite attractive. She is also a black conservative. And the video of hers that YouTube shut down was one in which she completely destroyed the list of 10 things that BLM wanted. White people selling their houses and giving the money to black people, or just signing over a house to black people. Just complete absurd lunacy, and Candace Owens just went off. So again, Red Pill Black, follow her on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. She is well worth it. Now, what I want to get into today is the constitutionality of it, because whenever something like this happens, you always have people say, oh, free speech, First Amendment. Well, is that really true? So in order to get to the heart of this, we first need to know what the First Amendment actually says, and then we need to know how the Supreme Court has consistently ruled on the First Amendment. So what I am going to do here is I am just going to read the Establishment Clause verbatim. Now, the First Amendment is called the Establishment Clause is because it establishes the right of free speech and freedom of religion. Not freedom from religion, you 5%ers, and you know who you are. Freedom of religion. So, let's just go ahead and read it. The First Amendment of the Constitution, the Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, that is word for word the Establishment Clause, the First Amendment of the Constitution. Now, how has the Supreme Court historically ruled on free speech? Well, there are way too many, rulings for us to go into. But what the Supreme Court has historically done, it has upheld the First Amendment, but it has also said that the right to free speech is not absolute. And what I mean by that is, again, while the High Court has upheld free speech, it has also put some limits on it. Now, we've all heard of the famous saying, whatever, you can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater unless there's actually a fire. If you do, well, that's a crime. Okay? Now, also, there are some things that, again, that the Supreme Court has said the First Amendment does not protect. Hate speech which leads to violence. Okay? Now, I can go out of my apartment here, walk down my street, and just be as racist as I want to be. I can drop as many N-bombs as I want. I can talk about the stereotypes of Asians, Jews. I can be as racist as I want to be. The Supreme Court has said I have that right. What it has also said is I do not have the right to use my speech to incite violence. And what that means is, let's say I'm walking down the street and I am a racist douchebag tool, but I'm also saying, we need to go get these people. And let's say I assemble a flash mob and somebody gets beat up for no other reason than they were in the wrong place at the wrong time and my racist ass happens by. Okay? That is not protected speech. That is a hate crime, and hopefully I will go to jail for it. Okay? Now, another thing that free speech does not protect is if you defame, libel, slander someone. Now, this is a case-by-case basis, but you have to understand that if you say something about somebody in public that you know is not true, you could be liable, especially if that gets out into the media, it's in print, whatever. And quite honestly, you really shouldn't do that. Okay? It doesn't matter if you like the president, you don't like him, it doesn't matter who the president is, it doesn't matter. You really shouldn't say things about anyone that you know isn't true, because you wouldn't want that done to you. Okay? Golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. So, with those things in mind, let's talk about YouTube and Google, and we're going to get into a little Facebook here. Because again, the right to free speech is not absolute, okay? And you have Mark Zuckerberg in Facebook, who says he's for free speech, but he's not, okay? He is a liar, and that is a true statement. I cannot be sued for libel there, because what Mark Zuckerberg says is, I am for free speech. But he's not. He is for free speech only when he agrees with what's being said. Because when you look at the conservative pages that he has taken down, while other just hateful pages stay up, we know Mark Zuckerberg is a lying hypocrite. Now, you've got Google YouTube. Now, keep in mind that Google bought YouTube for around $1 billion a couple years ago. Now, Google is the same outfit that recently fired one of their software engineers for writing what was basically a truthful memo on diversity. All this poor guy did was state his opinion, and he got fired for it. So it is no surprise that YouTube would shut down Joey Villa and Candace Owens. YouTube and Google say they are for free speech. They are not. You also have Twitter. Twitter, notorious for shutting down conservative speech. And then you had Reddit, who actually came out and apologized for shutting down pro-Trump and conservative speech. Now, again, all of these entities say they are for free speech. They are not. But were anyone's constitutional rights violated? And the answer is no, they were not. Because when you sign up on Facebook, when you sign up on, for Gmail or YouTube, or you sign up on Twitter, you sign up on Reddit, okay? None of us read the terms and conditions. But one of the things that is in each and every one of those is you agree to have your speech limited. It is the same thing when you go to work. Now, if I go up to Amy and I say, you know what, Amy, that dress you're rocking today makes your butt look better than it usually does. In workplaces today, that's not free speech. That is sexual harassment, and I will be in Mark's office. The fact that Amy hates me, well, that's a side note. In technicality, we won't discuss that. But anyway, the point that I am making is this: the right to free speech is not absolute. The Supreme Court has placed limits on it. There are limits on what you can say in your workplace. There is a limit to what you can say on social media. Now, again, there is a lot of hypocrisy out there with Facebook, with Twitter, with YouTube. They all claim, again, to be pro-free speech, but they're not. Again, any speech that Mark Zuckerberg or Google or Twitter or Reddit disagrees with, you have a chance to get shut down. And again, not only is the right to free speech not absolute, but when you sign up, you do give away some of your First Amendment rights. Like it or not, that is the fact. I am Joe for Florida 14. Thank you so much for listening. And again, have a great Labor Day, everyone. Back to work tomorrow.